Hello, Wide Open Adventures. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. If you have not subscribed, I'd like to ask you to subscribe. And if you are subscribed, you might check and make sure you still are. A lot of people are getting unsubscribed. For the YouTube members and for the Patreon members, I have a special video that's going to be released this week to you guys, so you'll be getting your video. And we have a Boots on the Ground coming up very, very soon that I'll be doing, so I look forward to doing that. I have an encounter for you guys today, and let's go ahead and hop on it. Guys, don't forget to hit that smash that like button right now so you don't forget, guys. We're low on likes right now compared to our views, so don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps us get our videos out there, and we can make more content. I'm from North Carolina, but I've lived in Florida for a good chunk of my life. Every now and then my family and I head back up to our house in the mountains to check on the place and enjoy the scenery and whatnot. I love going up there and visiting my old home, but after what happened last time, I think I'll stay down in the Sunshine State for a while, because what I'm about to tell you may keep me from ever going back to that house ever again. This happened when I was 16 back in December of 2018. Roughly a year ago, my family and I were heading up to the house in North Carolina for a family reunion, the week after Christmas. I was hesitant on going at first, but I had been a couple of years since I had last gone, plus the opportunity to take a whole week of work off just sealed the deal for me. We left on a rainy Monday mid-morning. The 10-hour drive was pitiful. Given the rain, my dad spun out a few times and he was pretty angry. He had a short temper, and I guess it would probably have aggravated me too. Once we got to the house, it was around 7 p.m. and it was already dark. When we got all of our stuff inside and unpacked, we had to turn on the water, cable, and all the jazz. My grandparents arrived shortly after, and we helped them unpack their stuff as well. My mom started cooking dinner while my sister and I, we'll call her Jane, were walking towards the door to go take a brief walk in the woods behind the house. Outside, but that's when my grandpa stopped us. "Where do you two think you're going?" he said. We're just going to walk in the woods a little bit, right before dinner," I replied to my grandpa. He gave me a strange look. "I wouldn't do that if I were you. Those woods can be dangerous at night," he told us. "It's not a good idea to go trancing around in the dark, especially the first night we've been here since you haven't been exploring it." "What do you mean?" Jane asked him. We went on about there are wild animals out there that could hurt us, and roots that we could trip over, and just basically everything he could think of to keep us from going out there. Jane and I listened to him and agreed to not go outside and walk around. That way we wouldn't be pissing him off the first night. Dinner was ready soon after, and we all ate some chili my mother had cooked up for us. My mom makes some of the best chili you've ever ate. And then we all went to bed early with some really full tummies. That night, given the long day and the drive, we all was pretty tired. I stayed in the room upstairs that I used to when I was a kid. Not too big, not too small, and it had 2 windows on the wall in the back of the room. This next part is a little embarrassing, but I was listening to some music with an AirPod in one ear and getting ready for bed when I had remembered I had forgot that I did not hide my vape pen with me. I know, idiot, right? If my mom knew I was vaping, she would kill me. I was going through some things at the time, and I used it as a stress reliever, but still, I never should have turned to that. Anyway, I was about to take a hit off of my vape when I heard something outside my window. The woods are behind our house, so that's what I was facing. Once I looked out my window, outside the house lights were on, as someone forgot to turn them off. Once I took a peek out there, I saw a figure peeking behind one of the trees right outside the woods, looking directly at me. I turned off the light in my room to get a better look at it, and I really wish I hadn't have done that. What I saw was an insanely large figure. I know I was on the second story of this building, of my house, but my gosh, this thing had to be at least 7 or 8 foot tall. I got a look at its face. It looked like the face of a German Shepherd. I thought, why in the world was a dog standing on its hind legs peeking behind a tree, and why was it so big and tall? I got a look at its razor sharp teeth, and honestly, it looked like this thing was smiling at me. And those eyes, those dark red soul piercing eyes, is something I will never forget. As its arm was wrapped around the tree, I noticed that it didn't have paws or anything like that. It had hands like a man, and its arm was big and strong like a bodybuilder. But I cannot help but think that the hands reminded me of opossums. I know, weird, huh? I was terrified. The only thing I could compare it to was a werewolf straight out of a horror movie. As it was grinning at me, it started to wave at me. Yeah, you heard me right, Mike. It was waving at me. I was frozen. I couldn't move at all. And I knew that, and it was enjoying every second of it. I heard my sister call me, and she called my name from the hallway. I quickly put away my pen and went down to see what she wanted, and she could tell that there was something wrong with me. I just shrugged it off and I said I was watching some horror film because obviously she wouldn't have believed me. And I didn't need everybody in my room smelling my vape. After she went back to bed, I made sure all the doors and windows were locked so that that thing could not get in, although I'm sure that wouldn't have stopped it if it tried. I looked back outside, and the creature was gone. I tried to take my mind off of it, but I couldn't. As I was trying to sleep later that night, I heard a deep, gut-wrenching howl from the woods, which I made sure I just knew it wasn't anything that I'd ever heard. If you heard it, Mike, you'd know what I was talking about. This was not an animal, you could tell. I never told anyone about this, as no one would believe me. I avoided those woods the rest of the trip and never felt happier to go back out there. What I saw that night will haunt me for the rest of my life, but I'm just glad it didn't try to break into the house because I know for a fact that it wouldn't have had a problem coming in. Or, probably at most, it could have killed every one of us and there isn't nothing we could have done. This thing was scary. It was enough to make you not ever want to go to the woods again. But it also makes your mind kind of stop for a second because it's something that's not supposed to be there. You're looking at something that's not supposed to exist, and you're arguing with your brain to try to make sense out of it. I mean, you know what you're seeing, but your mind is telling you that you're not seeing what you're seeing, and it's trying to tell you that it's a dog. It's hard to explain, Mike. I don't know how to explain it. But anyways, thanks for taking time out of your day to read my encounter. If you live in the west side of North Carolina, be careful because this thing is still out there. Take care and God bless. You know, there's a lot of things in this story I've noticed. A lot of people compare the hands of these creatures to a possum. That's funny because that's what they said at my granny's house. Another thing I noticed, it was hiding behind a tree. And I believe these things use trees for camouflage. They hide behind them, peek around them, and they probably blend into the trees really well. I'm starting to think the more trees you're going to have in an area, maybe the more encounters you're going to have in that area. And of course, we have the red glowing eyes. And I'm sure that it was probably, around that area before they come to visit the old home site. And then everybody shows up and the lights are on and there's noise and there's people and there's the smell of food, mom's cooking. So a lot of these new things are going on, and I'm sure it did attract everything in that area. I'm not used to the noise and the smells. Another thing that I thought was really interesting is how you said that it was waving at you. That happened at my granny's a few times. One of them stood on her sidewalk one night while she had her front door open and just the screen door shut, and it reached his hand out making the motion for my granny to come outside to it while saying her name over and over in that evil, animalistic voice. So yeah, these things are very intelligent and they know what they're doing. I think you probably should have told your parents what was going on just for the fact in case that somebody would have forgot something out in the car, or they would have sent, your sister out there or somebody else to get something. At least they would have known there was something out there, even at the least a prowler, so everybody would have been on the lookout for something. Not telling people kind of leaves them, vulnerable because they don't know what's out there. I think that whenever you see these things, you should at least, if nothing else, say, hey, I think I saw somebody out there messing around. If you think that people are going to think you're crazy, that way at least they know that something's not normal outside and everybody's not just going to sleep thinking everything's okay and, Uncle Uncle Bill decides he wants to open the window and get some fresh air, and he falls asleep, and then, he wakes up, or don't wake up. So, I think we should always let people know that there's something out of the ordinary, even if you're not sure they believe you. Just tell them you think you saw somebody, or saw something that wasn't normal. Guys, thank you for watching, smashing the like button, supporting us and everything. Really means a lot to us. I'm working on having a special guest on, a pre-recording. If we get everything wrapped up and everything the way it should go, guys, we'll be dropping it this week. I think you're going to really like the guest. And again, for you Patreon and YouTube subscribers, you have a video coming out very soon just for you guys. And again, keep your head on a swivel, guys, and don't be something's dinner. We'll see you on the next one.